Okay. Where are we holding now? It's Parshas Tazria in addition to Parshas HaChodesh. Everybody's sending out all over the internet on WhatsApp and on Facebook. I saw it. I'm sure it's on Twitter also. That the Sefer HaHechelos, which is, look at this, which is written by the Tana Rabbi Yishmael Kohen Gadol, writes that it's one of the oldest works of Kabbalah. Writes on the Shabbos when 3 Sifrei Torah are taken out. At that time when the Sifrei Torah are taken out, the gates of heaven are open and you can pray for anything. So, that's very beautiful. And again, very inspiring. And why not? It never hurts to pray. You know? So, you know, we talk a lot about Parshas HaChodesh, but are we forgetting about Parshas Tazria? Tazria, Mitzorah, the Parshas of Tahara. And last week was the Parsha of Tahara, was Parshas Parah, and now we're the Parshas of Tahara, which, again, I'm chalishing to go jump in the mikvah. So, this Carmex usually is the best balm, but it seems like there's no balm in Gilead right now. It's just not working. Anyway, who told you to put on the balm? So anyway, Parshas Tazria. I mean, I made a video on this last week, but maybe you didn't see that one, so I'll make this video now. It has in there something that people find, like, what's going on here? Why is it that when a woman gives birth to a boy, she is unclean for 7 days and for a certain level of defilement of Tumaah, and then 33 days is another level of Tumaah, and then for a girl it's twice as much. It's 14 days and then 66 days. What's this all about? There are different explanations. One is that, you know, Tumaah is always connected to life and death and potential life, and since by a girl there's, you know, she's we're hoping that it's a mother gave birth to a mother, you know. So that's the standard answer. But I remember years ago I saw on YouTube, it was one of these talk shows. It looked like a British version of like Sally Jesse Raphael, you know, where the talk show host goes with the microphone into the audience and asks people questions, and they have a panel up front and they're talking about interesting things. And this British show, I don't remember what the name of the show was, but they were interviewing clergy of different faiths, and so they had, you know, a priest and a pastor and an imam, and they had a rabbi. So who did they get for rabbi? The Lubavitcher guy, you know, he had a British accent, and there's a, you know, not a younger man, an older man with a white beard, and that was the story. Was, you know, he was there. The woman asked this question, the host of the show: why is it in the Bible that there's twice as much Tumaah when a woman gives birth to a girl than when she gives birth to a boy? Twice as much defilement, twice as much impurity. And he has to go into a whole discussion of semantics. Actually, it's the term Tumaah does not mean exactly impurity. It means something else. So then it's the same question. So why is it twice as much Tumaah? And then by the time it's trying to answer all the semantics, there's no time. You know, it's not like my YouTube videos where I could just ramble on, and if nobody listens, nobody listens. But I had a perfect answer in the Mishnah Yadayim. Famous Mishnah, very interesting Mishnah. Halachically speaking, the canon of Scripture in Judaism, meaning everybody agrees that the 5 books of Moses, that's the Torah. But these other books of the Bible, I mean, we have 22 books of the Bible, which are the same as the 39 books in the Protestant Old Testament. It's just that, the 12 prophets are considered one book. 1st and 2nd Samuel is one book. 1st and 2nd Kings is one book. 1st and 2nd Chronicles is one book. And meaning that they're written in one scroll. And Ezra and Nehemiah are one book. And so that's why we speak of 24 books of the Scripture when those are the actual, that there would be a total of 20 scrolls, meaning 5 books of Moses in one scroll, and the other 19 books of Scripture in 19 separate scrolls. Meaning Psalms would be in one scroll, Proverbs would be in one scroll, and so forth. The 12 prophets were not 12 different scrolls, they're one scroll. They're called the minor prophets. And again, people say, well, does that mean they're not as important? No, they're some of the most important prophets. It's just that their books are short. And so minor also means little, but we call them traditionally Treyasar. That's Aramaic for 12. But I'm not offended. Again, it's all these arguments of semantics. The same thing, leprosy. Well, it's not Hansen's disease, but the word leprosy doesn't only mean Hansen's disease. And so that's why we talk biblical leprosy, in Tazria and Mitzvah. Anyway, and so this question, Tumaah, Tahara, and it's not exactly impurity, but it really is. I mean, colloquially, we see, Tumaah is used by the prophets as a negative thing. I mean, I remember when I was in yeshiva, we had a chabrusa they were sent from brother yeshiva in Galite to learn with us. Curly Galite would come and learn with us once a week. And my chabrusa I had, he was explaining, except for a kohen, there's no isser to become tameh. It's just that when you're tameh, there's laws that apply to it. There's certain things you can and cannot do. It's not that there's anything inherently wrong in being tameh. It's part of nature, generally. But and so it's not like we're considering this person to be disgusting or unclean. It's what we call Levitical purity. So anyway, and Levitical impurity. So anyway, there are biblical forms of Tumaah, and there are different levels. There's the Avi Avos of Tumaah, which is Tumas Mace. There are Avos of Tumaah, there's Vlad of Tumaah, not related to Vlad, the Impaler. So, there are just these different levels of Tumaah and so forth, and then there's rabbinical Tumaah. There's like Tumas Yadayim, which is generally a rabbinical issue. And one of the things when it comes to Tumas Yadayim is, the impurity of hands, is that books of Scripture defile the hands. And that's how we canonize Scripture, meaning we make the distinction between the books which defile the hands and the books which do not defile the hands. And the whole idea of books defiling the hands is that if historically the simple people, the ignorant people, would think holy books and holy food, those go together, right? So we'll store them in the same cupboard, and the mice don't know the difference between holy food and not holy food. And then once they're nibbling on truma and heave offerings of meat and things, and other foods. Or I remember a comic strip, of it was like on like Or Sameach's website back in the 90s or something, and like this kid, he's like, the Cheder, they were going on a trip to Kivrei Tzadikim, but they said, you Yasala, you can't go to the Kever of the Tzaddik because you're a Kohen. And some places they make it like by Samarov's Kever, there's a Kohen Shtibel. I know Svardim and Lubavitchers hold it to Kivrei Tzadikim Einim Tamim, but Samarov didn't like that idea because he said, we mavkin who's in Tzaddik and that, so he didn't allow even Kever, and even in Meron, he didn't let Kohanim go. But by his kever, there's a Kohen Shtibel right adjacent to it, so that's where the Kohanim can go. Anyway, meaning he wasn't chaylik to Kivrei Tzadikim and Tamim, but like how do you understand who's that level of a tzaddik? So anyway, Kivrei Tzadikim. So anyway, in this comic, so the kid, he's disappointed. He can't go on the trip with the other kids. But then the teacher said, "But don't worry, when Mashiach comes, you'll get to eat truma, and nobody else gets to do that but Kohanim and their families, So then he's like, it ends off. He's like, I wonder if there's truma on chocolate chip cookies. So anyway, so they're storing their truma cookies, up with the holy books in the same cupboard, and the mice nibble on the cookies, and then they nibble on the books, and you're desecrating the books. So the rabbis declared that the holy books are metamas yadayim; they defile the hands, and therefore, people are not going to be storing them together, and it's a way to protect the scriptures. And the same thing, oils on your hands and stuff can damage the parchment. That's why even, with the Sefer Torah, we don't usually touch it with our hands. We'll take a talis or whatever, and try not to directly touch the cloth, the parchment. So the Sadducees asked the people they called the Pharisees. The rabbis themselves identify as the Pharisees. The rabbis actually had a negative opinion of people who want to show off their abstinence, that they called the Perushim, the Pharisees, unless their motivation was motivated by love or fear of God. But just to be show-offs, the rabbis didn't really care for those people that much. But the Sadducees like to insult the rabbis by calling them Pharisees. And then they were like, hey, that's our word, So the Sadducees said, what's with you Pharisees? You say that the books of Scripture defile the hands, but the writings of Homer don't defile the hands? Oh, I hope there are people here. Oh, yeah, there are cars here. So then they said, do we have no other issues against the Pharisees? I mean, it's Scripture itself. The bones of Yochanan Kohen Gadol, the bones of John the High Priest, are tameh, are impure, yet the bones of a donkey are pure. So the answer was, Lefi chibasam hitumasam. In accordance to however much there is love for an item, that's where the Tumaah goes, because we don't want people to take their parents' bones and make spoons out of them to eat them, and to eat with them. So therefore, the bones are tameh. That's a biblical law, and so therefore, the writings, the Scripture which we love, defile the hands, but the writings of Homer that we don't care about do not defile the hands. And so that would have been, if I would have been on that TV show, in a simpler way, I would have said the Talmud says, Lefichi basam hitumasam. Then in the measure accordance to how much something is beloved, That's how much it is described with impurity, and the message is that the women are on a higher spiritual level. Again, generally, that's really apologetics. It's not really an authentic teaching, but people like to hear it. The truth is we're all equal. Not one is better than the other. Although having more mitzvahs, I remember Victor Miller used to say, a Kohen has a bigger chelik in Olam Haba than a Yisrael or Levi because he has more mitzvahs. He was a Kohen, and the same thing. A Jew has more chelik in Olam Haba than the best Ben Noach. His Olam Haba is nothing compared to a mediocre, relatively frum Jew. And that's why it's better to become a Ger Tzedek if you believe in the Torah. If you have no choice, you have no choice. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you later.